It's one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind.
Flying down from Nova Scotia today.
This nation was founded by men of many nations and backgrounds.
I have a dream that all men are created equal.
Ignition sequence start. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. We have a liftoff.
What's up, everybody, and welcome back to the Two Doomed Men podcast for another episode. It is Skaggs here, and I am joined, as always, by my right-hand man, El Capitan. How you doing,
What's
brother?
up? I'm doing good. Yourself, pal?
Good, good. So we are going to do things a little bit differently tonight. I'm going to let the captain drive the narrative for the night. He's got a 6-pack of cold, hard topics. Maybe not 6. But
Yes.
it sounded.
I don't know. What do we got? 1, 2, 3, 4. No, just about 6.
Oh, there you go. What do you got?
First off, shocking news. Hunter Biden's laptop's real. So bust out your crack pipes. It's okay to be a Nazi in Ukraine. Zelensky's being a little bit of a dictator. Biden comes out and talks about ushering in the new world order. Straight up said it. Then he also talked about how the Russia is going to commit cyber attacks. And finally, just in time for spring and fun in the sun, there is a new COVID variant. Shocking.
Yeah, it's the Hunter Biden crack pipe variant, maybe.
Yeah.
So we got a couple other things also coming up before I let the captain get into the news for the evening. Next week, we are going to be having on the Libertarian candidate for the governor of the state of New York, Larry Sharp. He's a really good guy, so we're going to get to talk to him and see what he's about, what he's got in mind for New York. The weekend after, we are going to be at the Libertarian Party of Connecticut State Convention, which I'm participating in. Captain's also going to be there as an observer. We're hoping to see our buddy Scott Horton and Lance out there. Maybe if we have some time, we'll be able to sit down and record something with them. That'd be pretty cool. After that, on April 16th, we are going to be out in New Jersey with the Sergeant and Samurai at Angry Brewing in Newton, New Jersey. The Sons of Liberty are throwing their Revolution Fest. There's going to be a cornhole tournament. It's $25 a head. First, second, and third place win cash prizes. And the entire event raises money for the Warrior Strong Incorporated, which brings free fitness, yoga, and spin classes to veterans and first responders in New Jersey and Pennsylvania. So if you want to attend, you can buy a ticket on Eventbrite. I'll post a link in the episode captions below. We're also, obviously, we're going to be there. We're going to be having a couple beers. We might record, maybe do a little bit of live. Maybe you could come sit in with us. Maybe just have a good time. It's for a good cause, helping out veterans, helping out a couple of really good guys, stuff we like to do.
And the cherry on top, we get to finally hang out and meet Sergeant and Samurai, which is going to be awesome.
Right. In the flesh. It's I always prefer, obviously, to do podcasts in the flesh with people. You can really replicate human to human interaction, but obviously, people don't live right around the corner from each other. So the magic of the internet helps with facilitating stuff like that. So excited to run into those guys in person finally. So what do you want to start with, buddy? You got your crack pipe handy? Because I got mine right here, as I've shown before. Let's
so I'm going to revert back to our last episode about, I was talking about how there is a bill in the state of New York.
Okay, you want to start with that? Okay.
I'm going to shout this out real quick, and then we'll get into one of the topics. So we were talking about this last week. It is a bill for New York State that the governor is trying to pass that is going to ban all new natural gas powered homes, anything, starting 2023. This will cripple the plumbing and heating industry. All new homes, everything will be electric. The price of electricity will go through the roof. The grid the grid might be able to handle it, but it isn't going to help anything. So for anybody who's in Long Island or in the state of New York who is aware about this or wants to learn about it, Friday, March 25th at 11 a.m., Smithtown Hall, 99 West Main Street, Smithtown, New York. It's in Long Island. Dear members, we need all PHCC, that's the company, members, plumbing and heating professionals, regardless of affiliation, homeowners, and interested parties to attend a rally and information session to support consumer energy choice hosted by New York State Senator Mario Matea. I believe that's, yeah. New York Governor Kathy Hochul is moving forward with plans to ban natural gas in the FY23 state budget. Debate and passage of the budget may occur as soon as next week. So this is the week of March 20th right now. So a vote might occur as soon as next week. The governor is pushing for a natural gas ban before collecting public input via a series of public hearings scheduled into June by New York's Climate Action Council. So get out there, voice your opinion. We could post up the link for the rally. There's also another link on the website that you can sign up to, sign the bill saying you oppose the natural gas ban. It'd be a big change to New York, and a lot of New Yorkers don't even know it's happening. So maybe this is something we could talk to Larry about next week.
Yeah, definitely be a good, question or issue to propose to him. And look, man, we talk about it all the time. Like, people ask, what can you do? What can you do? Well, you could show up if this is something you care about, and you could try and make your voice heard. You could try and do something, right? These are local issues, right? Which we normally focus on national issues, but these are local issues, and we could maybe help, maybe do something.
Yeah.
Right? That's why we're going to the convention, Libertarian Party convention next week, right? I can maybe help them some way.
Yeah.
You never know.
New Yorkers listen to our show, and people in the tri-state area. If New York does it, you're going to be next. This concerns plenty of people. It's not, sorry for singling out the rest of Doom Nation, but we got to protect New York as well. As much shit as we talk about it.
Yeah, definitely. We're going to be concentrating a little bit on the local issues in the next week or two. So yeah, man. So, and then with that, let's get back to the national issues. Let's get back to, our old buddy and his crackhead laptop. What's going on over there?
God. Let's start with Robert Hunter Biden. I like how everybody on Truth Social and Gab has been sharing his full name for legal purposes. So shocker, the laptop's real. Shocker.
At this point, if you're watching too, Doom, man, you knew the laptop story from the New York Post was real. Before we even started recording this, I was telling you how the the reason why this even got back into the news cycle was because the New York Times last week wrote an article where they begrudgingly acknowledged the fact that the laptop was real and that everything was real, while they ran disinformation pieces saying that it wasn't real, etc. And we're going to pull up some funny things here from DefineLS in a bit, but yeah, man, it really is just, I don't really give a fuck about Hunter Biden or what he does at the end of the day. My issue always was the censorship, and that was the first domino that fell in this new era, this new wave of censorship. If you remember back at the time when the New York Post broke this article, you couldn't share it on Twitter. The New York Post's account got banned for a certain period of time until they removed it. Even to the point where if you copied the link to the article and you tried to DM it to somebody, wouldn't let you send it the message. They wouldn't let you send the message. So they went all out. Twitter and the other social media platforms, obviously the corporate press, they went all out to suppress this story, to literally just say that it was completely fake. I don't give a fuck about Hunter Biden. It was always about the censorship. It was about what they were trying to do to stop a random article that made the president's son and the president look bad. There is interesting stuff in there as well.
Yeah. Well, that's...
I remember back at the time, I had a friend of mine was like, why do you give a fuck about Hunter Biden? Who cares about that? I don't. You set a precedent for censorship. And now look, what are we, 2 years later now, right? And after that, man, the censorship has been insane on COVID, on Ukraine, on everything, dude. Every fucking thing. You could point back to this. This was a defining moment in political discourse where they just said, nope, you can't know about this. It's fake, etc.
Yeah. So why I give a fuck about Hunter Biden is because if this laptop's real, the child porn's real, the crack smoking's real, the prostitution's real, the crazy stories about how Secret Service is covering up, Hunter Biden losing a gun, and how he has a stripper that he needs to pay alimony to and stuff is all real. But from what the media did with the censorship, the media helped sway an election. They said this wasn't real because it was during an election and it was going to make their candidate, Joe Biden, look bad. This is election interference. We're not talking about fake ballots or dead people voting. We're talking about the industrial media complex making an unethical decision to make sure no one can see or share this story because their candidate needed to be elected. The ramifications of what big tech and social media and the media itself did is incredible. They changed like you said, the course of history, because this could have been the story. Yes, it was held politically by Trump and them to drop at that certain time, right, to hurt Biden. But Biden might have not won. It was a fair and clean election.
There have been polls asking people, I know that,
yes,
like if you knew about this and the details of the laptop, would you have voted for Biden? And some people did say no, I wouldn't have, right?
Something
would that have made any difference? I don't know. Can you really quantify that? Maybe not, right? But it was. What you're saying is true. It did happen to some people.
And then on top of that, not only did the media actively decide to interfere in an election, there's emails on this laptop about Joe Biden receiving foreign money while he's a sitting vice president. That's a no-no. Okay, that's a very big no-no. Right. Does Obama know? Is Obama implicated in this? Remember, Hunter Biden got $10 million from the mayor of Moscow's wife. And now all of a sudden we're at war with Russia. All the shady stuff, that deal that Biden held up in Ukraine, the weapons deal, because of the quid pro quo, because his son was going to be investigated. The sitting vice president getting involved in active investigations.
Well, wasn't it Trump who held up the weapons deal because of that? Not Biden, right?
No. Biden's original. If you watch that video where he's like, "Well, we're not going to sign this if that prosecutor still has a job." The guy Biden was holding up a weapons deal that was I'm pretty sure Biden was holding up a weapons deal that he wasn't going to sign unless the prosecutor who was investigating his son got fired. Then I think the phone call that got Trump in trouble was also over weapons. Looking it up.
Yeah. Amazing how if you look back, like all the stuff that had to do with Ukraine over the past couple of years, now there is a war in Ukraine.
Yeah. Shocking.
Trump was literally impeached though over holding up a weapons deal to Ukraine. I mean, there could have been another weapons deal. I mean,
well, no, remember Trump was impeached because they had the records of a phone call that they didn't release saying that he was holding up this deal.
Right, exactly. So it was another weapons deal.
Yeah.
That's what the impeachment was about. And look, if I'm going to criticize Trump for something, it's the fact that he was like going to give a weapons deal to Ukraine, right? Because you want to really play, accountability here. All these little tiny weapons deals are little by little more provocations towards Russia, which eventually leads up to the war. So he has some blame in there, even for eventually signing the weapons deal. But I mean, I guess there was another weapons deal. I'm sorry. So I mean, I do think, however, the weapons deal that you are referring to is the Trump weapons deal. There was other weapons deals that have been held up by Biden, but I don't think it's the one that you're.
Well, there was Biden. So Biden's quid pro quo was he wasn't going to sign some foreign deal.
No,
he was going to hold.
I think you have it backwards, bro. I think it's
no, bro. No, there's a video of them interviewing Biden, and he's like, I wouldn't sign it unless they fire this prosecutor. I mean, good luck finding that on Google.
Yeah, it's gonna take a while to find. That'll have to be something we fact check. You made another point earlier before, which is it's a hell of an accusation. You said that there's child porn on the laptop. Yeah, where I haven't seen that. I haven't seen child porn. I know there's Is that verified though? Like, I've seen
I'm
things
going to go
about
out.
like the Obama's daughters on
Right.
there, or
Oh,
possibly
I didn't
like,
see any of that.
or possibly like other like Biden family members are on there. But I mean,
Well, I think there's
that's a
emails
really,
talking about it and talking about the ages and stuff of how it's disgusting of how young these girls are that are coming through and stuff like that. I think more of it's going to come out. I think on a future episode will be
but I mean, it's all
will
out
be
there already
this
though. This story has
right.
been out there for over 2 years now almost. Yeah, I mean, I think that what really is to be gained from the laptop is the fact that, yes, you mentioned it. They shared bank accounts, Hunter and Joe Biden,
Mhm.
and there was foreign money coming into those bank accounts, especially Hunter Biden's fucking paychecks from Burisma, the Ukrainian gas company that he
Mhm.
has no experience in. You know, these people are dirty, man. You know what I mean? They overthrew. They Biden orchestrated the coup in
Yeah.
2014 in Ukraine, overthrowing the government there. And you know, there was always this like state of warfare in Ukraine since then between, you know, people who were like pro-Russian and people who were pro-Western. And the Bidens have been involved in this from the get-go. So again,
Oh
it
yeah.
is no surprise that this war broke out there, that this laptop story that has some information on it was suppressed, that this comes back out now. It really is just insane. My again, my main point was always like, this was the first domino in the
Yeah.
censorship game. And
And well, you know what? Now it's coming back to bite them in the ass.
is
Now
it
it's coming
is
back.
it though?
Well, we'll see.
People are still gonna, you know, if you're yeah, like I
I
didn't need to
have
be told that this was real already. You know what I mean?
I
So do
know.
most people.
I understand that. But I have a new like viewpoint to get off topic, and then we could go back into Ukraine or whatever.
No,
We're
no
at
more
a cross.
Ukraine, bro.
What?
No more Ukraine.
Well, we
I
got
mean, if
Zelensky and the
yeah,
Nazis.
that's true. That's true.
And you still got the tweets you want to share. I think we're at a crossroads where one of three things is going to happen. Either the cabal, deep state, new world order is going to, the house of cards is going to come down. There will be justice and we get some new free world. I don't know what that part looks like. B, the great reset happens and we live in the pods and we own nothing and we're happy. Or C, it's get your cowboy boots and your Colt Python because it's Walking Dead time. Like it. One of these three are going to happen. And I was thinking a little like trying to take myself out of the situation. Like people always find things new to be better. So there are people genuinely interested, no matter whether it's narrative driven or based on lies, that truly believe like the great reset, if you will, to put it in terms like, the one world economy, social credit system, one world government. There are people who are genuinely like, yeah, this is like what progress should be. This is the evolution of the world. We've already lost those people. There's nothing, you know what I'm saying? Like, just because we don't like it or just because it's ran by nefarious people doesn't mean that people are out there that are like, this is a good effing idea. There's always going to be two parties. The only problem is we're on the side that wants freedom. And if history has taught us anything, freedom usually comes out on top eventually.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
In the long run.
And so that's my point of saying, like, there's just going to be people who are all for the great reset, who are all for a world, economy, and who are just, are going to be on the, unfortunately, it's the same page that those people are like, oh, the Hunter Biden laptop's not real. Oh, Dr. Fauci is the most truthful saint ever to walk the earth. Oh, Joe Biden doesn't have dementia. He's the greatest president we ever had. Oh, inflation's a good thing. It's just going to be those people. I don't think there's any more waking people. There's only a few people left to wake up. That's something big or a red pill, maybe like a nuclear scare, some big blackout, a Russian cyber attack where we have no power. That what might wake up a few more people. But still, when those lights come back on, they're going to be like, thank God I was vaccinated. Praise Zelensky. It won't matter. It won't. There's
Maybe.
some people that we're not going to get.
Yeah. I think it's a good point. I always remember when I took the very first hunter safety course I ever took, and the guy was going through the whole thing, and he was like, when you are out there hunting, you're like a representative of hunting, and he's like, there's three groups of people. He's like, there's your radical vegans, they're never gonna like come around
Yeah.
on hunting. He's like, don't worry about them, forget about them. He's like, then there's your hunters. You don't need to talk to them about hunting and try and like advocate for hunting to them because they're already hunters. He's like,
Yeah.
then there's your people in between who don't understand what hunting is about. They love animals. Those are the people you want to talk to about hunting, and you know, maybe you could sway them to supporting hunting because it's actually good
Yeah.
for animals, etc. So yeah, I was that like stood out to me over the years. That could be like applied to any topic
Yeah.
or anything.
There's just some people you're not going to get.
Yeah,
You know, when Hitler was running through Europe, there was people. No, I mean, no matter the the charisma and the propaganda that Hitler threw out there to trick people, there was people out there that were like, right on, yes, you know what I mean. Like, so no matter what situation we get into, even if the deep state crumbles and this new America emerges, there's going to eventually be another party that says, let's try it this way. And there's going to be people that are, yes, let's do, you know what I mean? No matter what, it's always going to divide into something.
yeah. I think I've come to learn over the past 2 years, especially, that like human beings are in
Tribalistic.
mass. Of course, yeah, they're tribalistic, but they're
Yeah.
also like they're looking to be led. Most people are
Yeah.
not looking to be the leader or do like their individual research or think individually. Like most people are like busy with like just
Yeah.
like day-to-day survival, and they want like the simple cookie cutter thing that sounds good and okay, I'll follow you
Yeah.
that way. You know what I mean? That's like almost human nature. Not everybody is a hero or wants to be, you know,
Right.
and nefarious actors throughout human
Take
history
advantage.
always come along and take advantage of that. Maybe because some of these nefarious actors, like they understand too, just like we understand, like the way the world really is and the way like the
Mhm.
human species really is. And most just normal people don't understand that. I don't like people are plugged into the matrix, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, there's people out there who are like, well, why does a farm need 5 million cows when we could just go to ShopRite and the meat's already there? You know,
Right.
there's
Yeah.
people who really don't like I said, the shelves could be empty tomorrow. They'll be like, oh, okay, well, we'll come back the next day. Maybe they'll be refull. You know, they really don't understand that, like, once the food supply stops coming, you got to go get your own food. You
Yeah.
know,
And that's also a
start
product
eating
of
berries and nuts and shit.
that's also a product of the fourth turning and good times create
Yeah.
weak men, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Everybody's heard it a
Yeah.
million times. People have had it good in America for a long time, and we're fat now.
So good that we
don't-
oppressed ourselves.
yeah now yeah right. It's the oppression Olympics, and we don't know like what it's like to like really survive the way like
Yeah.
a person in North Korea who's starving to death and it's like scrounging on the fucking ground for bugs. To
Yeah,
eat
all
because
the
it's, like,
people who
only
defect from
nutrition-
China.
Yeah, I mean, people think about that, right? People defect from North Korea into China, right? That's how bad it is in North Korea. I mean, like those, what's her name? Yuan Park, man, what a story she has. If you ever get a chance
Yeah.
to listen to it, but before we move on, I do want to
got some-
share, yeah, like
Yes.
it is very hard to find accountability, and one of the few accounts, one of my favorite accounts in the world on Twitter, is DefineLS, and it is one of my favorite accounts simply because of the fact that it is about accountability. And DefineLS, all he does is take two tweets and he puts them back to back. So in regards to the Hunter Biden laptop story, he has put together Jen Psaki. And this is back in 2020 of October of 2020. And she says the Hunter Biden story is Russian disinformation. Dozens of former Intel officials say. And then this is the New York Post just this week. Hunter Biden's infamous laptop confirmed in New York Times report. And now the next one is from Scott Dworkin. He's a pundit, typical establishment Democrat, talking head. If you knowingly disseminated fake intel on Hunter Biden, you interfered in our election and you should hire a lawyer. New York Post on the bottom, editorial. Now that Joe Biden's president, the Times finally admits Hunter's laptop is real. There's a lot in there in those two tweets. There's a little bit of the iron law of woke projection, right? They're saying that, you interfered in the election if you knowingly shared the story. That's disinformation. Meanwhile, you were clearly saying before that they interfered in the election theoretically because they suppressed the story. And I also think Jen Psaki's original point is interesting because she like
She
sites,
implicates the intelligence agencies,
which they
the
were,
CIA,
which,
the FBI. They're all
right,
in on this.
which they were
Yeah.
at the time. They put out statements, the CIA, etc., put out statements saying this was Russian disinformation and propaganda.
Yep.
It wasn't. And look, again, I'm not going to go on a fucking rant here about Vladimir Putin. We've said it. He's a terrible fuck, right? But they are always pointing everything at the Russians in regards to this. Like, they're the boogeyman. Anything that goes,
And you wonder
anything
why
that
he
doesn't
strikes
go
back.
I'm just saying anything that doesn't go the Democrats' way,
Yeah.
Russia.
Yeah. Well, that's because they
Russia!
don't have Trump anymore to blame it on.
But this was back in the Trump
I
times.
know it
though.
was, and
Saying,
Trump
like,
was
they
still
were
there.
always
Yeah.
trying to the point. It really is just crazy, man. There it is. There it is. We have the receipt. It was real, and they fucking lied to everybody. They played you for a fool. I don't give a fuck about Hunter Biden, what crack he does. Good for him. I think all drugs should be legal. I don't care. But still, they fucking lie to you, and they try and sway things. And they'll lie us into a fucking war if they have the chance if it benefits them in any way. So keep that in mind going forward. Speaking of that, now let's go. What's going on with Zelensky? What's he got going on?
So Zelensky's becoming a little bit of a dictator. I thought we're over here supporting democracy. He is, what did I say? Banning political. Have you heard he's banning political opponents and taking control of the media?
I believe he banned 11 opposition parties in Ukraine, some of which actually held office in Ukraine. They weren't just like the Libertarian Party.
Didn't one of them have like 10% of the parliament or whatever?
I believe so. Right. And it's outright banned now going forward in Ukraine. Yeah. Good.
So what?
Yeah, this is the democracy. This is the hero, right? This is the democracy.
The hero of democracy. You know, and you know, it just travels the world. You know, Trudeau is the symbol of freedom, and you know. And now Zelensky is the symbol of democracy. How I don't.
I know you're going to say how, why, you know, how could this be?
How do you just ban your political opponents? You know, I get like how the Democrats are trying to, but like you just one day you're like, okay, party A, F off, you're gone. Like, and it just stands, and they all go home. Like.
Well, every shit lib when they saw this news come out, they fucking blew a load in their pants because this is their hero and this is what they want, right? So now he's setting the precedent. This is nothing new. Zelensky has jailed political opponents before. He's banned negative press on him before. Vladimir Putin does the same thing, right? So he's acting exactly the same as Vladimir Putin. I guess now he's a war
criminal.
He's going to say that, right. He's going to say that his justification is that they're in a war state, right? So he's got to do everything he can to protect the country. But, you know, he just wants to protect himself and the state. You know, that's what governments do. They're just looking out for themselves. Normal Ukrainians.
He's protecting the investors.
Yeah, they're going to get caught up in the crossfire of fucking Putin versus Zelensky. Neither of these guys got an AR-15 or an AK strapped to their chest. Why don't we just fucking, you know, we want to have like a swift end to this. Let's just like celebrity death match. Let's go. Throw him in a fucking ring.
Square.
Yeah, we'll give him a month to work out. You know, we get fucking Vladimir Klitschko in there. You can start training Zelensky. You know, and then him and Putin go at it. I mean, Putin's a killer, dude. It's gonna be tough.
Yeah.
But at least you got Vladimir Klitschko on your side, Zelensky, and then you guys fight it out to the death, and then whoever wins wins, and you know, no one else has to die. We go from there.
Be too easy.
Yeah.
But no, I don't disagree. And the other thing I wanted to say was how it's okay to be a Nazi in Ukraine. So I saw something, I was reading this article and then I had to go run and do something that I couldn't find the article again, but they were saying like there was peace talks or, you know, they were trying to negotiate in Ukraine.
Been a couple talks.
Yeah. And so, like I said, I didn't get too far into it, but I kind of believe it because of just based on what's going on. And this got our Instagram page shadow banned and how, you know, people are almost simping for the Nazis in Ukraine. That it's okay to be a Nazi in Ukraine, and in these peace talks that denazification of Ukraine is an off the table deal. If Ukraine has to denazify itself, they don't want any part of the negotiations and they're backing out. You want to tell me you're the bad guy without telling me you're the bad guy. I'm not saying Putin's right here and that Russia is the champion or hero there, but when you got a problem with taking away Nazis from your nation, you lose a lot of credibility.
So yeah, right. So it really is bizarre, what's going on in Ukraine. You have an unholy alliance, essentially, of Galatian SS, literal hand-me-down people,
Yeah.
the Azov Battalion. You have Bin Ladenites. There are reports of literal, Al-Qaeda members who have joined forces with the Azov Battalion and the Nazis. They've put aside their ideological differences.
Yeah.
Fundamentalist Islamists and Nazis have put aside their differences in order to fight Ukraine. And then you have the pro-Western Zelensky, normal Ukrainian person who wants independence from Russia and is I guess, immersed in Western culture, right? So I guess theoretically, I mean, they're all aligned, right? Right now against the Russian invaders. He can't, right? He can't agree to that because that's a major part of his fighting force against the Russians. They're going to then turn, which is my fear, right? They're going to then turn on him and maybe throw a coup, which they have, which they could easily do, and replace the fucking president of Ukraine with an actual Nazi. That is my ultimate fear. The outcome of this thing is that the Nazis are going to end up in power in Ukraine, and that we're going to end up fighting them. I think I've said this before on previous episodes.
That's some military strategy. They have them by the ball. I didn't even think of that. I'm just thinking of from a politician standpoint, like you're really going to run on the fact you don't want to get rid of the Nazis, but he can't because he's going to lose his fighting force, and then if he F's them over, they can overthrow him.
Yeah.
That's
They'll be in Kyiv in fucking a couple days with those javelin launchers, and they'll be pointing them right at the fucking.
And they're the ones getting all of Americans, all American taxpayer funded weaponry.
Yeah,
mine and your paychecks have put literal rifles and javelins in the hands of Nazis that could take over Ukraine if they really wanted to.
And don't be surprised if in 10, 15 years, one of those weapons will be fired by a Nazi at an American soldier, and it will take their life. Don't be surprised.
Or forget. I think you're too far into the future of 5 and
Well, I'm just taking average times based on the Soviet invasion of Afghanistan, and then our war with Al Qaeda in 2000. That was about 10, 15 years in between. So
I'm thinking the next election, or honestly, like very soon, because there's constant talks of false flags and stuff. I wouldn't be surprised. And it's not, it's not like the CIA. We beat this horse for 2 years now. It's not like the CIA's never attacked its own people to start a war. So, one of these
well documented that they have.
Yeah. Well, one of these Nazis, blows up a building that has American diplomats in it, or some military brass. And, right when Biden's like, we're not going to go to war. We're not going to go to war. Oh, we can't start World War III. Boom, this happens. And, oh, this is like Joe Rogan saying the N-word. This is the worst day in American history that these diplomats died. We must go to war. And he'll have his, because Americans died. And we'll never know who really shot that javelin, who started it. Hell, even if the diplomat died or not.
Yeah. Right. And even if it was a Nazi, we'll point back to, well, who gave him the fucking weapons?
Yeah.
And now you're saying we got to go over there and fight him again. You know what I mean? So, going back to the negotiations, like, at least, a little bit of, at least there is some talking. Again, I'm going to criticize our own government. They seem to really not be involved whatsoever. They're on a war footing. They are not on a peacemaking footing.
Nope.
I know Zelensky did kind of admit that, like, there's not going to be any NATO membership for Ukraine.
No.
It's going to have to be part of the deal. Get to the table, right? Biden is going over there now to Poland because you got to bail out fucking Kamala because she's just completely useless. Get to the table. Invite Putin to fucking sit down somewhere in neutral ground. Hey, what do you need? This is what we need. Let's hammer it out so normal people don't die anymore. That's what any actual competent, well-intentioned leader would do. And we're going to see what's going to happen here now in a couple of days. My guess is that ain't going to happen.
Yeah.
And if I was president, I'd be on the full court press right now. Listen, Vladimir Putin, I'm here. I'm in Poland. Where do you want to meet? Let's hammer it out. Let's settle our differences, and let's, put our guns down and figure it out. And, Zelensky, you could be there too, and we'll sort it out. We don't need, and in the meantime, let's cease fighting just while we figure this thing out. And we'll see. We'll see what Grandpa Joe is over there. If he's going to be there just eating ice cream, or if he's going to actually
I'm going to put my money on he is once again going to make himself and America look like a fool on a global scale.
And look, maybe
he's
if
going to
you do
get
that,
up there. What?
maybe if you do that too, like maybe Putin won't be interested at all, right? And then, but there you go. The onus goes back on him. It's his fucking fault now. We made the intention. We made the steps to come here and sort this thing out, and he doesn't want to talk to us, right? Who knows if that would even be true at the end of the day, right? They could just be making the whole thing up, or so could Putin. You know, we'll never know for real. But you gotta at least make an attempt, man. Make an attempt. People are fucking dying. It's crazy.
Well, hey, Bush, we don't negotiate with terrorists. Well, they're the only people you have to negotiate with because you're starting an effing war. So you want full-fledged war. You're just saying something tough and badass to get people behind you. It sounds cool to say we don't negotiate with terrorists, but what that really means is we're going to keep this war running and we're going to kill a lot of people, you know? So
patriotic goggles, hoorah, you know, that's toxic masculinity right there. You want to fucking, you want to name it. What was next? What do you got?
Well, I also, just to add in, I'm calling a bit of propaganda across all the boards, Fox, CNN, all this stuff. Keep seeing stories of how Russia is losing battles and that there's like a disconnect in the chain of command and stuff like this. I'm really finding it hard to believe. I believe that maybe Russia is unorganized, and I definitely believe that Russia by itself is a subpar military compared to ours, 100%. I really find it hard to believe that there's all this death and all these bombings every so many minutes, and it's such mayhem and chaos over there that the Russia isn't winning. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like they're just propagating that, like, oh, Russia's not doing good. Just, you know what I'm saying? Like, just so they could keep this going longer.
Yeah, there was a famous quote from Putin a couple of years ago, and I forget who he said it to. I think he said it to Italian diplomat as part of the EU, and he was like, you know, I could be in Kiev in 2 weeks myself.
Yeah.
Right. So I do agree with you. Like, I think, you know, if you, I hate to like Monday morning quarterback this thing, but if you put like the United States military up against the Russian army, like, they're getting smoked. They don't seem to be 100% as organized, and I don't know if that's really their strength. Their strength is their nuclear arsenal, how they can just wipe out the world with it. But I do think also maybe that's the way they're planning on this going. They don't seem overly committed in terms of airspace, right? Because I think the Ukrainians actually have a decent amount of Stingers and Javelins, anti-aircraft weaponry. So it wouldn't be as easy to just completely overwhelm them with the you know, the Russian Air Force, which is funny too, because people calling for a no-fly zone. Well, you know, like, they haven't really established air supremacy over Ukraine. So, like, what do you even, you know, you're literally just calling for a war. Like, in terms of,
we do the no-fly zone, the CIA shows up with a drone, bombs somebody.
Right.
Oh, you broke the no-fly zone.
Right. I don't know. There might be something more to play here. Just tactically, what the fuck do I know? I'm not on the ground there. Neither are you. It is surprising. It has been what, 3-4 weeks now. I did think they would be in Kyiv by now, right?
Yeah.
Which is what Putin said. But even if you look at the way they've carried out this invasion, it's like a pincer move, and they're trying to essentially like cut off, surround the Ukrainians, like in the eastern part of the country, and kind of encircle them like around Kyiv. So I feel like they are trying to capture the eastern part of the country, which is near Russia, and they don't really care much about the western part near Poland.
Right. Bit of a slow burn.
Yeah, maybe it could be. You know, just the Ukrainians are putting up a hell of a fight too. You know,
Yeah,
they were
who
prepared
knows?
for this, and they theoretically are fighting for their own property, right? So it's hard
And
to,
you know, with the help of Nazis and Al Qaeda, what could go wrong?
right. War is also messy, man. It ain't fucking things go wrong.
No
Doesn't
plan
matter
stands
how.
first contact.
Yeah. I was just listening to Scott Horton was on Jocko Willink's podcast. That was great, called The Unraveling.
Yep.
And Jocko talks about war and makes a lot of good points about how it's messy and how you have to be like willing to kill civilians and things like that. And that's just like the nature of war. So who knows, man? It's a fucking mess. It sucks.
Yeah.
I don't think there should be
It's
a war.
just
I think,
what-
again, we should be sitting at the table and figuring it out.
Yeah, what just drives me nuts is that in the same breath, these media organizations, and I'm calling out all organizations, can tell us that there's a bombing, that there's 5 bombings every 15 minutes, and we're up to 10,000 children dead, but Russia is losing the battle. You know, like, we're bombing them every 3 minutes, and we're killing thousands of children, but somehow we're losing the battle.
As always, don't believe anything you read.
Yeah,
Don't even
that's
believe
why
anything
I'm calling
we say.
it. I'm calling it propaganda, man.
Trying
All the
of course, man.
propaganda.
Any war though. Any war is just laden with propaganda. Do your own research. Think for yourself. Think critically. That's always our message to you guys.
Yes. So to circle back to the Bidens, I don't know where he spoke last night, but Biden just came out and said it. We're going to usher in the new world order, man. You know, we're the conspiracy theorists. You know, the new world order is not real, but Joe Biden just said we're going to usher in. I guess Joe Biden is he's one of us. Maybe he'll come on the show.
He must be.
He must be a conspiracy theorist.
He really must be. So I don't know exactly where he was speaking either. He was at some forum or something. And yeah, he made this comment about how, you know, there is the new world order. There was more to it though. And
yes.
And it was, of course, he was wrong as well, because he didn't just necessarily say the new world order. He was kind of talking about like the liberal world order. And he was talking historically, and he mentioned about how from 1900 to like 1946 or so, like, you know, basically from 1900 until after the Second World War, like 61 million people died in terms of, I guess, like conflicts. And he's like, you know, since then, the new world order, the new world liberal order has been basically, he's trying to say, like, the most peaceful, prosperous time in the history of humanity. That is not fucking true at all, right? I put up a couple stats on my Twitter. I was like, 60 million people died in Soviet gulags alone after that, right? Mao's revolution.
How many people have died in Yemen?
Tens of thousands, right? That's just one of the fucking 30 wars the United States has launched. 1 million Iraqi civilians died. Mao's China killed hundreds of millions of people, right? All the fucking narco wars in Mexico have killed hundreds of thousands of people, probably. The Korean War, you know, tens of thousands of people dead. So
Vietnam.
No, the world has not been a safer place under the liberal world order. Actually, quite the contrary. Less people died under the fascist world order from the first fucking 46 years, or the first 50 years of the 1900s, right? It doesn't mean they're good, again, but more people have died in this one, right? Crazy. The 3,000 people on 9/11, right?
Yeah.
I mean, just add them up.
Now,
I don't have a fucking stat for every single person that's died at the hands of the state or wars or political conflicts, but I'm fucking put my bottom dollar on it's way more in the second 50 years of the 1900s.
But now we're supposed to believe that the new world order will be ushered in and it will take care of everything, and COVID and Russia and the Orange Man are just all going to be disappeared, are all just going to disappear, and we're going to be safe and cozy in our pods eating the bugs.
Yeah, maybe no one will kill each other because you'll just be in a fucking cage with you know, nowhere to go. It's like iRobot. You know how the robot, you ever seen iRobot with Will Smith?
Yeah.
The robots all decided like, oh, you know, you've tasked us with ensuring the continuation of the human species. In order to do that, we got to lock you in a fucking cage and keep you there forever because you're a danger to yourself. Yeah, maybe they are robots at the end of the day, right? And they're like the iRobot fucking the AI and there.
We always said the World Economic Forum, the New World Order, they never lie to us. They always tell us what they're going to do.
Yeah, there's literally
just nobody ever listens.
Yeah.
You know, and it's very interesting to see though that, you know, for 2 years and, you know, the 2 years we've been doing this, then all the years of Trump in office and all the talk of the New World Order has just continuously been downplayed. There's no New World Order. You're crazy. And then the president just like outright says it, and they just get to go like, oh no, he didn't mean it like you mean it. He means it. It's a new world order. Yeah.
Right. There was actually fact checks right away, you know, backing them up, bailing them out, backing them out, backing them up.
Opinion-based fact checks.
Yeah, man. I mean, how do you think Alex Jones feels today after that comment?
Yeah.
Right. I've seen plenty of Alex Jones memes. I shared one. There's one of him like this. You know,
I like the tin hat one, and it's just like I was right.
Yeah, you know, he was right, man. You got to give Alex Jones credit when credit's due. You know, I was talking to somebody today, and I'm like, you know, Alex Jones, he's right a lot of the time. He's also wrong a lot of times. Sometimes when you like throw a lot of shit at the wall, it sticks every once in a while.
Right.
But you got to call him as you see him, right? And this is something he's been talking about.
That's his job. So.
Right. Yeah, I guess you could say, right? So. Yeah, man, it's fucking scary. Who knows what these people really have cooked up behind the scenes? You know, you could read The Great Reset from fucking Klaus Schwab if you want. You know, you could go to the website, as we've read off of in this podcast before. It all sounds great. It's great marketing. You know,
Yeah.
Sunshine,
And that's why people are
rainbows,
genuinely
flowers,
for
everybody's,
this.
you know, you'll own nothing. You'll be happy. You'll eat the bugs. You'll like it.
Yeah.
The road to hell is paved with good intentions. I don't think everybody involved in the World Economic Forum is an evil person. I think they genuinely think that they are doing what's right for everybody, and there is definitely some evil people there, but it's impossible for the entire organization to be evil. Like, you know, they've co-opted.
I can't
just
say
like
why not, but
I'm just saying, just this is what they do to everybody. This is
Yeah.
what they do to normal, good liberal people in the world, right? They've co-opted them and convinced them to like adopt hatred idea, like hate ideologies, and just like things that are actually bad, things are against the very things
Yep.
they claim to stand for. With you know, the brainwashing them to believing like, yeah, this is the good thing, this is the right thing, you know.
like I
More
said, some
freedom.
people are going to agree with it. You know,
Some people
Yeah.
will, of course. Some people
Yeah.
will, of course. But it's what do you always say about the Nazis? You know, they lost.
Oh,
fell
they
back.
played the long game.
Yeah.
Yeah, they took one on the chin. They fell back. They infiltrated and they played the long game, man.
And they
How
also learned some marketing in the
Yeah.
meantime, right? Hey, you know, being
how
the evil villain, not a good look. Not a good look to be an evil villain. You got to
Yeah.
sell yourself as the hero, right? You got to sell yourselves as the equality, the equity people, right? That's what you got to do. So,
how easy would mass genocide be if all the subjects were voluntary?
right.
Just get them to line up to execute themselves. It would make genocide extremely efficient. You know, and people are lining up to do crazy things every day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't rule it out. Obviously, it sounds insane.
Yeah.
We're saying,
I know.
but-
And that's
but-
why, like,
right.
when you say
Yeah,
stuff
yeah.
like this,
It's
that's
designed
how
that
good
way.
the marketing is.
Yes.
Because you say something like that, and that's too much for people to hear.
Their eyes,
or you say
their eyes
like,
gloss over, or they're rolling,
Yeah.
you know.
or you say like BLM has no interest in making Black lives better. It's, as far as I'm concerned, a terrorist organization. You try and explain, you know, Black Lives Matter and terrorist organization in the same sense to a regular Joe Schmo, they look at you like you got 5 heads. It's good marketing. You found the shield you could hide behind. That's almost impenetrable.
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
up to people like us to try and articulate better.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And explain it better to people, I guess you could say.
Yeah. And so then finally with but I don't know if it was the same speech. I know the first thing I'm going to say wasn't the same speech, but the Russian cyber attacks that Biden's talking about, how Russia's next move is going to be the cyber attacks. And he was talking right before, I think, the Hunter Biden story rebroke, that they were signing a bill or something that would protect people's privacies if they had, you know, bad images of them online or something, where
Yeah.
you're
it
at
was
a
weird,
party and your
wasn't it? They
buddy
were-
falls asleep naked and you take pictures and you post it online and now his life's ruined.
Isn't that a
it's-
weird conversation for the president to be randomly? I mean, I don't. That's just weird. Like, he's up at a podium and he's talking
Yeah.
about that, of all things. We're in
Yeah.
fucking war.
And then all of a
right now,
sudden
that's what he's
the
talking about.
laptop's real, and then all of a sudden Russia's going to start cyber attacking the world. So what you mean to tell me is the second all your son and your dirty laundry gets aired out, the CIA is going to shut down the internet, and we're going to blame Russia for it, and we're going to start World War III. Is that what you mean to tell me? Because I kind of think that's what you mean. Yeah. Do I think it's
maybe.
going to start World War III? I have no idea, but
Yeah. I mean, to play devil's advocate, maybe he's right. Maybe Russia is planning a massive cyber attack to be retaliation for all the sanctions that they've put on, right? When, you know, what was it? You know, an eye for an eye, the whole world goes
Yeah.
blind. I'll eat some humble pie and say, you know, they did say that the agencies did say that the Russians were going to invade. I didn't believe them, and they did invade, right? So I guess they did have some intel at the time that was correct. about the
finally
Russians.
some real intel.
Or about you know, they did a terrible fucking job of presentation, and there was the exchange between Matt Lee and the one guy from the State Department. I forget his name. And he's like, well, where is the intel? Where's the information you have? And he's like, I just
I
presented
remember
it
that.
to you. And he's like, what are you talking about? He's like, I just told you. He's like, would you like me to print out a transcript of our conversation? And the reporter's like, what? He's like, what are you talking about? And I guess at the end of the day, they were right, though. The Russians did invade, so they did have some intel. Maybe Putin is planning some massive fucking thing to try and get back at us, right? And it's not 100% traceable. Or maybe it is, you know, that it's you know, some sort of inside thing. It's going to be the next like fucking lockdown, the next step of the Great Reset. There is a quote from Klaus Schwab about how you know, cyber attacks could shut down a tremendous portion of our society, similar to COVID, and how this is why you have to follow the World Economic Forum, all this stuff. It is suspicious also how there was a cyber attack against Israel a couple weeks ago, which we spoke about with Sergeant Samurai, right around the exact same time that they were trying to be, like the arbiters in peace talks between the Ukrainians and the Russians. All of a sudden they get cyber attacked. I don't understand why. Let's just think logically. You're the Russians. You've decided, okay, we will meet with the Israelis to talk about peace talks. Then you cyber attack the Israelis while you're in the process of peace talks.
Not likely.
This doesn't make any sense. Maybe, right? Maybe you're doing some 4D chess shit. I don't know, but it almost sounds like the other party would have cyber attacked him. Hey, no peace talks. Don't do that.
Yeah.
Or you're gonna get cyber attacked. Who knows, bro?
The pro-war people, yeah.
Right.
I'll put it to this: if tomorrow there is a cyber attack, I could be on the fence of it, right? If just at random right now, this podcast ended, Zoom ended, and we had no internet, I could be on the fence that it's either or. But if there's Q and all the anons with, we have the laptop and the links are dropping tomorrow at 5 p.m. and at 4:59 p.m. the next day, the internet goes out and there's some Russian cyber attack, and it makes it some type of coincidence that lines up with, whatever else is on Hunter's laptop being revealed. There's no more coincidences in this game. I think we've learned that there's no coincidences here,
Yeah,
So,
I agree with that. Yeah, when things are too convenient,
if it conveniently lines up, if it conveniently lines up with some bombshell information, it ain't Russia. I'm sorry.
Yeah, just the idea of a cyber attack is fucking wild too, right? You could, it's almost untraceable about who did it. So anybody could just be like, fuck it, cyber attack, take everything down, and now it's untraceable, and we could just go around in circles here doing cyber attacks forever. No one even knows.
Yeah.
And at least back in the day, when you fought your enemy on the fucking pitch with a sword and shield, you saw him, he saw you, you stood there and you swung swords at each other and you went down. You know what I mean? Now it's fucking, God, what an awful way to fight each other.
I don't know if we have time to talk about it now. I think maybe we'll dedicate a good episode, maybe get a couple of more loons on and stuff, but end of the world, man. End of the world. I did say option 3 could be Walking Dead status. You know what I mean? Cyber attacks,
right?
Cyber attacks could send you into an apocalyptic. I wish. Oh man, I forget the name of this movie I saw, and I can't find it anywhere anymore either. Oh, it's called Blackout, right? And I wish I could find the full length movie of it, but it's basically the entire East Coast of America goes blackout. And day 1, it's okay. Day 2, people are like, oh, what's going on? Day 3, people, barbecuing in the streets with their neighbors. And they're like, oh, I guess we're not going to work tomorrow. No, Bob, I don't think so. But by day 5 and 6, people are pillaging and raping and killing each other in the streets. They have canned food. People in the city ran out of food, because all they do is eat at restaurants. They get a can of food, they go up to their apartment, they have an electric can opener. And it just shows several different people in different positions during these blackouts and what they have to do. One kid was left home alone. His mother's a nurse. He didn't see her for 5 days. People are trying to break in. He's got to use daddy's handgun. This other family gets split up. The house burns down. What do you do when, there's no telephone? I think there needs to be an end of the world talk. We're talking about nuclear options. We're talking about cyber attacks. This could all be apocalyptic shit real quick.
Yeah, I don't want that to happen. Obviously, I don't want there to be fucking nukes launched and we all die. Right? I got a kid.
No shit.
Want her to live. So do I. Right? I got a lot more parties to go to and St. Patrick's Day parades to have a good time at. That's why we should be at the table negotiating, not fucking advocating for more war. What an insane fucking position to have. Risk the entire, these are climate change people. The world's going to end in 30 years, but we have to have a no-fly zone and risk nuclear war. That's not going to change the climate in a split second.
Yeah. Well, then it would give them an even bigger reason to control the climate.
They'll be dead. We'll be dead. We won't even be able to fucking debate it after. Well, if there is some cyber attack, we'll do cup and string podcast. That's how
Yep.
we're gonna have to communicate. Yeah, man. I mean, technology is good, in general. Like, it's made humans' lives easier, but we have become very dependent and reliant upon it. There
But
will be
how far?
chaos, because when people are like, get the rug pulled from under them, like people
Yeah.
like me and you might be able to survive because we know what the world is, we know what humans are. It'll be hard. It's gonna really suck, but we'll maybe be able to make it. But the rest of people, man, rug gets pulled, you're fucked, big time.
So, final question: Blackout, no power, cyber attack, EMP, whatever. How far back year-wise do you think like America would really get sent? Because it's not like the power is going to go out and we're going to be like shot back to 1775. You know what I'm saying? Like, there is the handheld technology that we had leading up to before the creation of the internet. So if we really got blasted back, we'd be like 75.
But what does that
80?
even mean? What does that even mean, though? If it's just America, then the rest of the world still has.
Oh,
equipment and
well, no, I'm only concerned. It's the end of the world, so I'm only concerned about us. Some place like Iraq, or Israel or whatever, they're going back.
No,
it's
I'm saying,
going to get pretty crazy.
Yeah.
What I'm saying in like America, to restart America, let's say no nuclear option, not millions of people that we're all still here. But now farmers don't have the tractors. An EMP. Farmers don't have the tractors and stuff. Our jobs deal with emailing and the internet and stuff but you could still run a construction company without the internet. We did it all throughout the 70s and the 60s and the 50s. You know what I'm saying? Like,
so I need to prod you for more information here. So this EMP attack, it affects the entire world or just the United States of America only?
Let's just keep it a small bubble. Well, you know what? No, because I know what you say. So it affects the whole world. Because if it's just America, we could go to our allies,
go to Canada, go to Mexico, and grab bulldozers and fix everything, right? But if it's the whole world, we're in big trouble here.
No, obviously it's the end of the world,
right? And if you say, let's say it's just an EMP attack, which an EMP attack just electromagnetic pulse, and it just fries every circuit chip. Most cars won't be able to work. Most technology won't be able to work. We're in big trouble. We're going back a couple of years. However, I do think,
but there's still people alive that
right. There's still people alive. There's still infrastructure would remain. There's still books, right? You could like learn how to do shit again.
That's what I'm saying.
If people are not dead, there's always a chance to fix things. It's gonna suck and it's gonna be hard to do that, right? Especially without without like the help of technology in the moment, because it's been fried. But some person will come along and fix, the first bulldozer. They'll get it running again, and then that bulldozer will be able to help move another bulldozer to get fixed, etc. And eventually we'll get things back online and fix it. That's what we do. We fix things, we build things, we improve our situation. So
I really don't think we would get blasted back into the Stone Age where we'd be rubbing sticks together for fire.
Go back to like the 1800s, like around there.
I
We
think
still have the leftover infrastructure to fix. You know what I mean? Like, you still have a bulldozer, it just don't work.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So you got to
I think we'd be able to, it'd be like 70s, 60s almost. Pre-technology, pre-internet, pre-computers.
Yeah, but cars were around back then, and now most cars wouldn't work. All these cars nowadays are computerized.
You'd have to drive classics.
Yeah, I don't know if even they would work too.
True,
I'm not
because
sure
it's
if
battery.
the batteries or their electrical systems might get fried.
Yeah.
Who knows? I don't know exactly.
All right, maybe
how that would work,
I'm misunderstanding an EMP a little bit more, but yeah,
I could be wrong. It could maybe it won't like affect your old like muscle car carburetor engine.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But then again, it's a carburetor, an old car. You're gonna need like gasoline. How are you gonna get gasoline? You have to pump it out of a gas station. How are you gonna do that with no electricity? It's not gonna happen. You're gonna go down
gas
there with a
stations
bucket.
were around in the 40s now.
Right, but I'm saying like the infrastructure is damaged. It's gonna be fucking hard, dude. It's gonna suck. I'd say 1800s, but the world would be able to. We would bounce back quicker than it took to go from say the 1800s to 2020. Maybe you could rebuild society the way it was in 50, 60 years, maybe.
Fair enough. Okay.
200 years. That's my guess at how it would play out. Hopefully not.
Yeah.
And if it does, I'm going back to the old ways. I'm hunting. I ain't fucking trying to fix no car, no internet, nothing. Fuck that. I'm grabbing a fucking plow and I'm putting seeds in the ground and I'm going after the fucking whitetail and that's it. I mean, I'm going down by the lake and just fishing. That's it. I don't want to be bothered with this shit anymore.
All right. Well, that's everything.
Yeah, that's a great note to end on. The end of the world. See you next week, folks.
Yes. This nation is doomed.
Yeah.
All right. So, Skaggs, thank you for the awesome background. I want the media to know that when this symbol is in the air, it's not a calling, it's a warning of vengeance.
Yeah.
And that note,
I love your Batman
Doom Nation.
I love your Batman voice.
Doom Nation, thank you guys for listening once again. We got big things coming up. Make sure you check us out on the Patriot Podcast Network on Roku and all our other platforms. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe. Adios.
Later.